What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Check this out. This is a 1978 DT400. Kind of similar to the RD400 we did, except for this is a single cylinder. So basically, customer come in and said basically that he was riding and it started losing power, and then he noticed this. You may not be able to see from this side. See if I can't move this cylinder. He said the cylinder felt like it's coming loose. Let's walk around to this side where there's some sunlight at. Might be able to see what's going on. So again, he said felt like the cylinder was coming loose, and I think I would have to highly agree with him. So he said it started losing power. So we're hoping that we didn't damage anything internally, that it was just running too lean. Possibility of that is piston locking up in the cylinder or the rod start to lock up. I don't think he said he heard any knocking or anything. He said he shut it off, so that's a positive. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and pull off these little side covers, yank the seat, get the tank, pull the exhaust, and then we'll jump into getting the head off this. Well, let's pull the carburetor too, but get the head, take a look down in there, and then we'll pull the cylinder to see if we have any damage on this 1978 DT400. I don't know if you guys can see, but it looks like this thing was running plenty of oil. You can see all the excess there. On the pipe, it was really oily back here where at the silencer. So I'm hoping we didn't have an issue there, but this is the weird thing. I'm looking down. Let's pull the spark plug actually before I get carried away with what else is going on. So let's go ahead and take a look at the spark plug. Spark plug actually looks pretty good. Maybe just a touch dark, but I'd rather have a little rich and a little lean, that is for sure. So I'm looking at this, and it's gonna be hard probably for you guys to see. Man, it looks like this thing is just always have handprints on it or something. I'm looking, I'm hoping it didn't pull threads. So I'm gonna put this on here and just see that's tight. Oh, well, actually it could be, did this one have, that's tight. I'm wondering if I think this one might have actual bolts that go down to the jug. So let's break these loose real quick. I mean, and there's not very much torque that goes on these, but they were tight. Get all those loosened up real quick. We'll take all these off. And each one of these will have a washer also. The lighting's not very good because I'm standing next to my garage, or one of the shop garage doors, bay doors, whatever you want to call it. And the sunlight overtakes the crazy bright lights that I have in here. That's the crazy part. And drop some comments, guys. Let me know the point of view, if you like this point of view better than the camera off to the side, which I'm going to say you probably would. I know it's a lot of movement, but I think you get a better view of what's going on. I may have to disconnect the, I can't remember the name of the silly thing. Probably going to have to disconnect that to get the head all the way off, or the cylinder off on this thing. I think it might be the head, but let's grab my magnet. We'll get some of those nuts and washers out of here. Come on, baby. All right, so we got all these. I love this little cart, man, I got from Harbor Freight a while back. It works good to put motors on. I probably need to get a second one because I have a lot of motors I have to do. So let's try to get this little cover off here, slide it up, and to get this off, it's not very hard. Should be able to pinch this and get that out, but I may have to fix the adjustment. Let me grab pair of, actually I should have my pliers or needle nose over there already. Let's grab a little hook. I need to be better about closing drawers. Let's see, yeah, probably gonna have to loosen that up just a smidge to get this guy out, because I don't think it's gonna give me enough play. Oh, it did give me enough play to get it out. Perfect, just enough. Wonderful, didn't need that. All right, so let's get this head off of here. All right, head little carbony, not too bad. A little oil. That's that's a good sign to see oil on there. All right. Oh, got a phone call. Let me pause this for a second to answer that. Thank you, Frank from Medicare. Sounds like your name's not Frank. All right, so head gasket looks good. So let's go down in here. I think those are 12s also. Let's grab an extension. I want to make sure I mark this. I want to mark this T for top real quick. That way I know which way it came off. This is front. All right, so exhaust is just fine. That way I know that was facing the exhaust. So I can kind of examine this thing and see if there's anything wrong with it. It looks fine. So let's check on the crapola, the cylinder, and see what the torque is on that, because that seems to be what's moving. The head was tight, but let's check on the cylinder here. I think it's a 10. And that's, yep, cylinder bolts are starting to come loose. Let's see how far down that goes. Wow, that one backed itself way, way out. Look at how far that backed itself out. That one backed itself way out. Let's check this one. Every cylinder bolt was starting to come loose. I just want to see how far backed out they were. That front right one was really far out. They're all pretty far actually. So that front left one. Now I've ran across in the past copper gaskets, all right, where I've put a motor together, torqued it down, went and test rode it, come back and checked them all again, and they were actually loose, because I don't know if it's because of squishing that copper gasket too much or what. And I've done it according to the service manual in the past and never did it on my own guessing with torque spec, and I've had them come loose before. So that's pretty insane. Let's go ahead, let me grab a light. Do I have a flashlight in my pocket? I thought I did earlier. Where did I put it at? Over on my workbench over here. All right, so let's grab my flashlight. Let's slide this cylinder down and just get a look. See if we can get a look and see if the cylinder's starting to scar up, because it feels pretty smooth. There's a little wear, superficial there. I don't see anything on the front. The good part is this doesn't have like the bridge in the middle. Let's check this side. Intake side looks really, really good. Let's walk around and check the other side of the cylinder. And that is all nothing. I feel absolutely nothing, so that makes me really happy. I'm still gonna pull the cylinder off, and we're gonna check the rod bearing on this thing, just because I wanna make sure all that is on the up and up. But again, let me shine back down that cylinder again. That feels super smooth. I don't feel, I mean, I think it's going to be just fine. Let's check in the intake here. Plenty of oil inside that thing. Holy smokes. Let's slide this intake off, or intake. Let's slide the cylinder off real quick. We're gonna put this down at bottom dead center. Give ourselves a little room to work here. And we're gonna check on that to see what's going on. Let me grab my ratchet here. Whoop, wrong way. Now I do have the factory service manual for this. Customer did drop that off with it. Now he said it was bogging down a little bit, but honestly I think that's probably because it was sucking air and not getting fuel. That's my hope. You know, it could have been starting to lock up at one point in time, but you know, like I said, the top end looks good. Okay, so I can't get that with a magnet because they're all aluminum. Top end looks good. Let's go ahead and pull the cylinder off. Thought I was all the way loose on everything. Feels like something's catching me up somewhere. Okay. Okay. I wonder if I'm hitting the cable over here. Oh yeah, I got the clutch cable. Clutch cable's gotta come off on this thing. Forgot about that. I completely forgot about that. So, I was like, what's holding me up? Clutch cable. Kind of a weird mounting point up underneath there for that clutch cable piece, but that's not a big deal. We can come up here to the top and if I can slide this bad boy over. Woo, that was tight. Holy smokes. All right, there we go with that. Should have plenty of space down here to get this guy out now. Yeah, I'm gonna need a pair of needle nose. Bend that tab back. Make sure you guys got an angle here. Pull that out. And then this bad boy should come right on out like so. Now we can slide the cylinder off. We'll just do it from this side because there's nothing in the way now. That was a lot easier. Ah, dummy. You should have remembered those were in there. Again, let's take a look at the bottom part of the cylinder here. Let's walk out here in the sunlight. I mean, cylinder looks absolutely amazing. That is great. Great news there. Let me grab some paper towels. I got a whole box of rubber gloves, but guess what? When I bought one box of extra large, I bought a box of large and they don't fit, so cramps my hand, cramps my style. All right. So the base gasket, need a new base gasket, which is perfectly fine. We're going to do that anyways. You can see how much it just blew that gasket all apart. It got loose and it just destroyed that gasket. Let's check. I'm going to come up with the piston. TDC here. Grab my flashlight again. And the piston and the rings feel. Let me clean off the front side here, or the exhaust side. Nothing there. Everything feels great. As far as up and down rod play, nothing side to side. So that is a positive. So what I'm gonna need to do, I'm gonna order up a new base gasket and head gasket for this thing. You can just see all the nastiness right here. So we're gonna order up a new head gasket and base gasket for this guy and get it sealed back up, put it back together, and we'll give this thing a kick and see what happens. All right, so we're back on the DT400. The gaskets finally came in. I do have a printed out service manual. So the cylinder nuts, now I forgot, the max torque on these are 19.5 foot-pounds. I'm gonna put some red Loctite in here so these bad boys don't come loose. And there's 4 of those. You'll do those in a crisscross pattern. And again, make sure you're lined up your piston rings with the little pin spots. And then was it page 33 in here it said. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. For the tightening torque on the cylinder itself is going to be anywhere from 14 to 15 foot-pounds on the cylinder head. And then, like I said before, on the tightening cylinder holding nuts is going to be anywhere from 15 to 19.5 foot-pounds. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to throw this cylinder back on here. We'll tighten this thing back down real quick, and then I'll put it all together and we'll fire it up, see what's going on. All right, base gasket's on. I am gonna leave this kind of low. That way I have room to work in here. I got 2-stroke oil all over the place inside of here. And we're just gonna go ahead, I'm gonna compress the rings with my fingers and just slide this back down on there. Let me check the other side real quick. Everything feels good there. There, looks good there. And now we're just gonna go ahead and slowly, slowly smash my finger. That's what we'll do, slowly smash my finger, bam. That's back down on top of there, right on top of the freaking stud. Like I said before, each one of these will have a little red Loctite on there. So I'm gonna throw that on here real quick. If it comes out. Here's the first 2, here's 1. Where'd the other one go? I just did it. There it is. 2. 3 and 4. We'll run those down. 12 millimeter head on top, hex head. Should have grabbed my electric ratchet, but whatever. I'm going to tighten these down to 19 foot-pounds in a crisscross pattern. $19.7. Oh, that's 20. That's all right. A little extra bump at the end. 19.3. 19.3. Check this one again. 19.4. 19.6. 19.9. That's 20.4. I like to double check them all because as you smash that gasket down, sometimes you can get a little variance in the height of the gasket. So make sure you go back through and just recheck all the torques on those. We'll go ahead and the new head gasket will go on. Shoot, I remember that goes up or down. I think it goes up, but I'm gonna grab the service manual, take a look, and let you guys know. All right, so the side with the lip facing up, just like the last one I had on there and the one I took off before. I'm looking into the old service manual. It doesn't specify on there, but I'm pretty sure this is gonna face up towards the cylinder head. Grab our cylinder head. All the surfaces are nice and clean here. Pretty simple to put that on. We're just gonna make sure we don't scratch anything. Bam, put those on, and again, I think I said 14 to 15 Newton meters on all those. All right, so cylinders on, heads on, spark plugs in there. Next, I'm gonna go ahead, probably install the carburetor, because that's gonna be easier to do when the exhaust is not in my way. And then we'll go ahead and get the exhaust stuck on this thing, hook back up the clutch cable, which is not very hard to do. Matter of fact, we can just do that as we're standing here talking. Put that here. If I can, I say not very hard to do. I'm over here struggling like nobody's business right now for some reason. I love it. There we go. And I'll bend that tab back down. And I don't have a small screwdriver to stick in there to bend that tab back down. We'll get that bent back down. We'll get the adjustment and everything put back up here on that. And then we'll go ahead and get the carburetor in, exhaust on, and we'll fire this thing up and take it for a ride. All right, it's all back together. Let's go ahead and see how it feels kicking it over. I know everything should be nice and smooth. Oh yeah, nice and smooth. Plenty of compression. Let's turn the key on. Gas is on. Make sure that throttle's closed. Choke is now on. Let's see what happens here. Is his battery? I know he has a battery on here too, so I'm trying to see if his battery's dead on here also or not. I don't see his high beams or anything, but because he has, I think he had to replace this with the electronic ignition, so I don't see the high beams light coming on, the neutral light coming on, nothing like that coming on. Sounds pretty good, not smoking out of the front. I think idle might be, it's hanging idle a little bit, but it is cold. I wonder if there's an air leak somewhere. But that's idling around 1500 RPMs. Sounds pretty good. We'll let it warm up. Then we'll take it for a ride and see if that idle still hangs or not. No, this wasn't the one that had the electronic ignition replaced. That's that that was that 77 RD400. It's not absolutely perfect, but it's pretty darn good. I'm gonna go wash this stuff up, and then we'll take this thing for a test ride to see how it runs out here on the street. All right, guys, let's take this thing for a test ride. Man, I'm screaming again, and I'm in my helmet. I don't need to scream. Sorry. Let's take this thing for a test ride here real quick. Hopefully you guys get a decent view. Again, you're on my chest mount. Not sure what the view is going to be like. That's that. Ow, I don't like the Kickstarter on this thing. Make sure all the brakes and everything work. Kind of boggy. That's interesting. What just happened? And it dies. So let's maybe try reserve. See what happens here? That was interesting. Off, on. Not sure what just happened. What is up with this Kickstarter? My goodness gracious. Okay, let's try choke. Not sure why it just died. Everything feels good. Okay, I have no idea. I guess we're going to push it back up to the shop. Try to figure out what went wrong. Alright guys, so it ended up just being a fouled out spark plug. I got you back in my helmet. New spark plugs in here. You can look at this one. It's pretty ugly looking. I don't know if you guys can see that with the GoPro. I can't look down at it. I got my helmet on. So let's go ahead and fire this thing back up and take it for a ride real quick. Let's see what happens here. Ow, there's a kickback on me. And another kickback. All right. Boggy. It shouldn't be that boggy. I don't know why it's that boggy. Well, let's see if we can't get it up the road and see if we can't figure out why it's bogging down. Really, really boggy. So let's go ahead and turn around, head back to the shop and see why we're bogging down really, really bad. That is insane how much is bogging down. Surging, bucking, kicking, doing all types of weird stuff. I mean, that is weird how it's acting right now. Now, I didn't do anything to the carburetor at all. Almost act like there's an air leak. Look how it's running up like that. That's really, really interesting. Yeah, it's hanging. Shouldn't hang like that. Seems like the almost like the slide's hanging up or something. Let's give it a little tap. No. Huh. Yeah, it's really hanging up. It's really hanging up. I am not sure what that is. It could be an air leak somewhere. I mean, all we did was take the carburetor off. We did put new gaskets, base gasket and head gasket on this, or yeah, head gasket on this thing. Spark plug, it's his gas. Carburetor's tight. So we can fire it back up and spray it with some brake clean and see if we get something different. All right, so I thought it was just a fouled out spark plug, but apparently it's hanging pretty good. And I got the, I have the idle turned way out. I mean, like way out. So I don't know, I'm not sure what's going on. And it kicked back on me a couple times, which is kind of weird. See? Wow, where did that just blast out from? I just saw it. I don't know if it came out the exhaust or where that came from. Ooh, the kickback. Why is it kicking back? Let me figure out what's going on with this. So the only thing I could figure out at the moment, what kickback would cause to be sparking at the wrong time. So that would mean like ignition timing would be off, but I've never touched the timing on this. But it's definitely not revving up and it's hanging high and it's kicking back. So we're gonna pull this side cover off. I'm gonna throw it back on my Tusk scissor lift and pull that side cover off, pull the spark plug out and check timing. And it's all done by the dial bore gauge that I had. If you guys see that before it goes into the cylinder. And we measured so many millimeters for top dead center. I'll look in the book and tell you guys what that is. All right, so we're back on the DT400. I've got a few other videos that just came out before this thing. So I got it back together. I checked the carburetor. I've been adjusting it, trying to figure out why it was starting to run away all the time. Shut the throttle off and it wanted to run away. I trying to adjust the idle. Nothing's working right. And then I'm like, okay, gotta be crank seals going bad. What's going on with this thing? I mean, I've been playing with it for a while off camera. And then I was like, okay, let me go ahead and do a leak down test real quick. I have a Motion Pro leak down tester here, 80-0071 two-stroke leak down tester. Nice kit. You guys might have seen this in the past. I think I used it in my KE125 video, but nice kit. Put it together, plug off the exhaust, plug off the intake, pump 8 PSI in there, and it should hold. But I think I found the culprit, what was going on. Look at the throttle cable on this thing. It is coming apart. So I think what was happening is that the slide was hanging up, causing that issue. You can see it's just about completely broke. It's got a couple strands. It's got like 2 or 3 strands left. But since I'm here, we're gonna go ahead and do a leak down on the crankcase anyways. So let's see what size we're gonna need to stuff in the front here. That one's too big. That one's still too big. Cause this thing was like spewing all kinds of oil a while ago when I was running it. I mean, it was all over my floor over here. All kinds of crap. I think that's a 12. 13? Yep, 13. This one, I think this one should fit the intake or the exhaust. Get it pushed in there a little bit. We'll loosen it up a little bit more. There we go. Grab that bad boy. I'll show you guys where that at here. You can see goes in the exhaust port. So let's tighten that up real quick. That should be nice and tight. Next one, we got to find the right size that fits the intake, which is one of these guys. And you have to screw this little guy in here. Nope. be that side there. We'll just have to loosen it up a little bit. And it's probably since it's Motion Pro, it's probably a 13 on that also. I usually use a wrench on that guy, but whatever. So let's loosen this up just a smidge more so we can get this in there. There we go. We'll tighten that up. Now, I did this a while back and it did have a leak out of the automatic decompression, but I put new O-rings and everything in that a while back and it held. Now, this has been about a year or so ago since I've worked on this. Last time, I mean, not this video, but last time in general. Let's get this in here. We should be, if I can get that to go with the airbox thing in the way. And when you do this, you want to be on bottom dead center. Let's just go ahead and pump it up, see where we're at here. All right. It's supposed to hold this pressure for about 5 minutes. And right now, I don't see any movement at all, which is great. So I'll let this set for a few minutes. We'll come back and check it. So here we go. We're at 5 minutes later and we're still holding right at 7 PSI. Another reason I didn't mention, when you want to be at bottom dead center so your port's open for your intake. And that way it fills up the crankcase space so you can check if your crankcase is leaking. You'll know if your spark plug is leaking, your head gasket's leaking, any of that while it's sitting there holding that pressure. Let's go ahead and let that off. So we know the integrity of this motor, leak down wise, is amazing. Now you can pull a vacuum on these because two strokes can cause a leak on vacuum. You could use a Mighty Vac to do that the same way I'm doing this. If I can get this thing out. But this is a great little kit from Motion Pro, especially if you're a two-stroke guy. Remember, bottom dead center. That way your ports are open, you get all that flowing through, and then you can check your integrity anytime you build a two-stroke motor. You want to make sure you have a good leak down. And it's a nice little case, stores in there pretty good. We'll take all this back out. I'll get a throttle cable ordered up for this thing, and that's probably going to cure my runnability issues and my hanging throttle issue, because that's really bad. So I'm gonna get everything else put back together, order that throttle cable, and then we'll fire this thing back up, take it for a ride, and see if that cures our problem. Right, so we got the new throttle cable in. It came from HVC Cycles. It's a vintage motorcycle parts place you can get it from. So that is installed. If you remember this other one, I know it's been a couple weeks for me, but it's only been like a couple seconds for you guys. But it was hanging up, and if you look, this thing is just super frayed and stretched, and it was hanging up on decel, or to just hang up there on acceleration. So now everything feels really good. Now I like to get this grip. It's kind of riding on this a little bit. I like to get that grip out from that so it would actually snap back by itself instead of catching. I might do that, blow some air in there, and just pull that grip out just a pinch on this guy so it's not hanging up like that. I mean, it does go back and forth no problem. So I think I'm going to do that real quick. Let me adjust that, and we'll give this thing its first fire up with that new throttle cable. All right, so I got you guys just kind of hanging on my tripod. So grip is fixed. It snaps back now. Split it off, re-glued it. Got a little more play in there than what I would like. Just a touch. Go ahead and adjust that out a little bit. There we go. I like that. We'll leave that like that. Let's go ahead, climb on, flip the key on, and give this thing a few primes over here on our tusk stand. All right, going run. You know what? I can't do it on that. I want to take it down Cannot do it on this thing. Thought I could, but I can't. I do really like this motorcycle stand, though, dirt bike stand. It is a great piece to have. Alright, this bike is heavy as all get out, so it's fun to take off this stand. There we go. Whew. Make sure I might still be in frame here. Alright. I wonder if that new battery's already dead or not, but whatever. Alright, we're on run. A few trying kicks. Let's see what happens. Let's take this thing for a ride. I'll put you up here. Hopefully a decent view. Here on my chest mount, as always. We'll find out if it's a decent view, I guess, when I go to edit the video, because I already have my helmet and everything on. I'm still running just a one exhaust gasket. It does have the exhaust leak. The flange is probably bent a little bit. It's probably what's causing this issue. Whoop, help if I turn a key on. Okay, that's what I figured. I figured it's gonna be a little low on idle. That's all right. Cool. Well, we wrote it. We know it's breaking up on a little bit of acceleration and low RPM, which is term of the pilot circuit on this thing. And then once you get to 3, where it starts to come off of that past quarter throttle, it starts to pick up well. So my guess is that the needle's good in the position it's in. Main jet felt possibly a little bit fat, but I'd rather have this thing a little fat than lean. So I'm going to play with that pilot screw, or the mixture screw, a little bit, and see if I can't get this thing to feel a little bit better on the acceleration and cruising speed. So it's not kick. Now it is an older 2-stroke. I'm not a master at these things by any means. So a lot of guys drop some comments and tell me what you think is going on and what you think I could do to make this run better. I know it's going to be jetting stuff for sure. And we do have that little bit of exhaust leak at the gasket. That's not ideal for back pressure and the how a 2-stroke pipe works with pushing sound vibrations and holding the fuel into the cylinder by any means. But I did have 2 on there at one time and it ran worse, and then I opened up, had 1, it seemed to run better. So let's go ahead and get that mixture screw adjusted, and we'll try to get out for another test. All right, got the mixture screw adjusted. I got the screwdriver in my pocket. I had to come out a little further than what I would like, but I think we're just too fat. The pilot's probably just too fat anyways. shut that bad boy off. I dropped this microphone out of my helmet. Ah. Get that down, throw this mic back on me real quick. All right, whew. Sweet. So you saw the trials and tribulations with this 1978 DT400E. I rebuilt it a while back. Apparently, I mean, I torqued everything according to the service manual, and I guess a year or so ago I did it. And he had, the cylinder started coming loose. That was really, really odd. I did not expect him to call me with that. So I went back through, I put new base gasket in it, new head gasket. We got a new throttle cable on that thing now. Went back through, readjusted the carburetor again. And now, man, it feels pretty good. Could it be better? Absolutely, absolutely. It could run not a whole lot better, but just a little bit better than what it is. Again, I don't have the jets to do that, nor does the customer want to pay that amount of money for time to do it. But guys, I'm gonna go ahead and call this done on this one. I appreciate everyone who has subscribed. So this should be out here really, really soon, as I'll be out of town for the next 3 weeks, Texas, Florida, and New Jersey. So got to finish up the race season. Hopefully we can have the championship, but that's besides the point, guys. If you haven't subbed, please do. Follow my links down below. There are a lot of affiliate links I have for different stuff from emanuelsonline.com, Eonon, which is a head unit place. I'm working on stuff from Rev 6. I know a lot of stuff doesn't pertain to this. I do not have one for HVC Cycles, but it's hvccycles.com for vintage motorcycle parts. You can find that. And all that good stuff, guys. Again, thumbs up, thumbs down. Got questions, hit me up here on YouTube. Find me on Facebook at Limitless Power Sports Service and Repair. You can email me at limitlesspowersports78@gmail.com. Again, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for checking out the video. And I'll catch you guys on my next upload. Guys, I completely apologize, man. I did not realize my mic had come unplugged. I'm fighting technical stuff here lately. I didn't realize my mic came unplugged out of the back of my GoPro here. So apparently I was using the mic on my GoPro the whole time during the test rides, and I'm mumbling on talking about runnability and all that stuff and what we need to do. Like I said, the pilot jet felt a little fat. I'm a little further out on the mixture or pilot screw than I want to be. I don't have the screws to do it again, like I was saying, the jets to do the job, nor does he want to spend the money probably for me to make it absolutely perfect. Sorry about the microphone crap again, man. I got it. My head's so many different places. I'm trying to get these YouTube videos filmed while getting product out for my customers. No, I shouldn't say product, but I get their units back to them. Busy time of the year, all that, guys. I apologize for the bad audio. Hopefully you can hear stuff. At least you can hear it going down the road. You can hear the wind, you can hear the bike, you can hear everything, see everything. So again, I apologize. Guys, I'll try to do better on the next one.